watch RuPaul's Drag Race?
Uh,
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I love drag queens. I think this is why I like love wigs and stuff is because of drag queens. Like I feel like my own drag queen. But I made this face earlier and it reminded me of this like one drag queen. She just all the time. Like I just feel so her name's Alyssa Edwards. So that's how I feel today. Like I feel like Alyssa Edwards, she's
Junior
coming out.
Alyssa Edwards. That's so funny. I think drag reminds me a lot of like those life-size Barbie dolls, kind of, because a lot of people who dress in drag aren't like, it has nothing to do with their sexual orientation. They just like dressing and like
Yeah.
being extra. As far as I understand, is I mean,
Okay. Did you know that there are female like drag kings?
what?
Right?
Can I leave this in our interview? I don't want to edit this out.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Totally.
Okay. What?
There are drag kings that are out there that like so I watched this show called Dragula and it's like a spooky drag queen show and they're like so into horror and it's freaking great. So there was one on there this last well, I don't know if there's a new season, but her name is like Landon Cider and she's this beautiful woman and she like does these amazing men's like drag like she looks like a boy and it's incredible like
Oh,
she's a drag king.
okay. I thought that it was just like all the drag queens are getting together and like they didn't want to be like they're all queens and so there has to be like a king among the drag queens.
No. Which I mean I get where you like think that too but
Yeah.
no they had a couple of girls on there that were well I don't think the one identified as a drag king like she or they whatever their pronoun is was like be whoever you want to be like no gender
Yeah.
gender put aside kind
Yeah.
of queen. Oh my, I just love drag queens, which is
But
why.
it's like it's an interesting concept because I think and it totally like what off topic of what we're going to talk about today, but that's the show. Welcome, guys. So I think it's interesting that it reminds me a lot of like Halloween in a sense, or like getting up to like go out or cosplay. Like it's not um, unhealthy. And a lot of people associate, or at least just the hateful comments I see on all the news posts and everything. It's usually like, oh, stop shoving your lifestyle in my face and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait a minute, didn't I just see scriptures for sale like at the farmer's market? Like, what do you mean? Yeah, there. Well, and I think that goes like I don't want someone to listen to this and think that like I'm bashing people who are religious and everything, but like lifestyles for people, you guys, I think that whatever your lifestyle is perfect and find that for and unless you know you're down the drug train and you're going really bad, like there's
Unless if you're hurting people in the process, that's a whole different story. Like you need to become aware of that and fix your problems. But you are completely allowed to be whoever you want to be, no matter like what religion you come from, what your background is. Like that's all. If you're happy and it makes you happy to dress this way or put this kind of makeup on or do whatever, freaking go for it. Like, what's so wrong about that? Like, I'm a huge weirdo and I claim it. Like, you come into my house and I got skulls everywhere. I like pretty dead things. I like Halloween. I like to wear wigs. I like to wear funky jewelry. I like to, you know,
yeah,
but I do it because I like it. I
right.
want to do it because it makes me happy. And I'm
Right.
so sick and tired of society telling me who I have to be or what I have to be, how I have to do it.
Mhm.
That's just not me. I'm not traditional.
And the story, so I interviewed a mom talking about her son transitioning to a girl, and he realized at like 3 years old, like and And sure, maybe it's the things that we had him around. Maybe he watched a Disney movie and saw the princess and that's what he resonated with. But sometimes that's what happens. Like we don't, I mean, there was I remember back in the day, Disney Channel had this I forgot the name of it, but it had two sisters that were competing in the basketball team or to be on the basketball team.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I can't think
Yeah,
of the name of it.
I know it's like double is double in the word the name of it. I
I
don't know.
think so.
No, great movie. Yep,
Yeah.
totally right. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah. So, and you know, it was just like such a normal thing then for like girl, because I think it had a lot to do with like, you know, if we look at back at the history, you know, women's rights and everything would huge back in, well, not back in the day, still like it's still a movement. So I think back then, especially in the early 90s, 2000s, it was a lot about, you know, empowering women that they can do whatever boys can do. But we never stopped to like tell boys that they can do whatever girls do. It's so shamed. It's so shamed.
And for like, why? I think that's my biggest question with everything that like, or everybody that like judges somebody else is like, why? Why do you care? Like, you're literally not living their life. That is a decision they want to make. Let them make that and just respect their boundaries and respect, you know, what they're doing. And, you know, vice versa, though. Like, we all need to respect each other and what we, you know,
Right, right. Well, and it gets to me like a lot of the times I hear that they just, oh, I just can't support that type of lifestyle. It's like, well, we're not. What do you mean? Like, what do you? Because whenever somebody and actually I'm not I would say I'm spiritual, but I do pray and I do pray to God. That's just kind of what's been comfortable for me. And we go around the table and we say prayers at home when we're not around our religious family. But when we go around our religious family, we do pray and we wait a minute, that sounded a little funny. They pray in a different way than I do. Like sometimes we'll even go around the table and say thank you. I don't know. I guess the way I'm trying to say this is that there's a lot of things that in life that I'm not always comfortable or accustomed to doing. And it's not hurting me to be tolerant of it or be kind towards it or be.
right.
I should just stop. Anyways, let's get on our subject.
I totally understand what you're saying. You know, like, just because it's not the way that I do things, like, it doesn't mean that I can't respect what we're doing. And like, we all do we have a generalization of the things that we do, like praying. Like, just because you pray this way and I pray this way doesn't mean that I can't join you in the way that, you know, your family does this.
Right.
It's like, as long as the respect comes back.
Right.
It's I totally believe it's a whole respect thing. We just
Yeah.
need to learn to respect each other and
Right.
deal with it. It's
Right.
not that hard. I mean, easier said than done, but
Yeah. Well, people are on power trips. People love telling people what to do. People love getting those manager positions and they're over people. There's a lot of humans love telling other humans what to do.
you're so right. And it's funny because I'm not that way. Like, I don't want to tell you what to do. I don't want to tell you how to live your life. Like, I just want you to be happy. I don't know what's so wrong with that either.
Right.
Like, we all deserve to be happy. So that's why I'll never like own my own company and like have people under me because I don't want to tell you what to do. I'm not your babysitter.
Yeah. It's hard.
Sorry.
Well, and it's so funny because in self-employment, I feel like there's levels to certain things. You have like the freelancers that are so anti-people and so like they can't even have a boss that they want to be their own boss, but they don't want to manage other people. They just want their own class. So like maybe a hairstylist,
Yeah.
maybe and sometimes a hairstyle like they'll get their own gig in their basement or their own they won't even go rent a studio because they don't even want to be around other hairstylists. So I feel like that's one niche and then another one, you know, and then you dip into the being a boss type of scale. And that's of course like only if you want to scale and make jobs for people. But Yeah, I find it takes a big awakening to get over that control. I feel like even as a mom, I find
100%.
myself wrestle, or as a big sister, I find myself wrestling with that.
Hmm.
So, okay. Anyway, I need to get you introduced and talk about what we're talking. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. Let's do this.
So, you guys, this is my friend Lexi. And Lexi is here to talk about her story with diabetes, and how she found out. And Lexi, you were actually, to kind of briefly tell you part of it, you were a teen mom. And what age did you find out you had diabetes?
So I found out at 25. Um, I had my son at 19, and actually right after I had my son, of course, like depression and all of the waves we go through after being a new mom hit. And they'd put me on some medication. And at one point they told me that I was pre-diabetic, but of course, being a human, you just think that you're invincible and nothing's going to happen to you. Um, but at the same time, like my little brother was diagnosed at 13 with type 1 diabetes. So you would have thought because we had gone through all of that with my brother that I would have been more conscious of it. But clearly I wasn't. So at 25, I was full blown diagnosed with diabetes. My A1C was 11.7, which is like so close to the danger levels. And I found out because at the time I was working at the salon, and my old boss had gotten in contact with us, or with this company that did like life insurance, and they helped you like do like 401ks and all of that stuff. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get life insurance. And so the nurse guy came to my house, took my blood, did all the like little things. And the lady from the company actually called me 5 days later, and she was like, hey, have you happened to look at your results online yet? And I said, no. And she goes, well, you need to go to the doctor, and like yesterday. And I was like, okay. And she goes, you have diabetes. Do you know what that is? And I'm like, well, yeah, my brother was diagnosed at 13. Like I found him on the floor in front of my bedroom door, like lethargic, couldn't speak, like couldn't move. Like if I wasn't there, I don't know what would have happened to him. And so again, you would think I would be aware of how diabetes works, but no, like all of a sudden, like I said, full blown diabetes. So I go to the doctor, tell him what's happening. I give him the results that the test gave me. And he's like, oh, yeah, you definitely have diabetes. So they started me on metformin. He was like, you need to watch what you're eating, the sugar, the carbs, start eating more fiber. Like, we'll get you connected with this nutritionist. So,
Wow.
yeah,
That's
it
a
was a
lot.
lot for me to take in.
Yeah. When you found out, what did they tell you?
So they told me that I needed to eat better. I needed to start working out. Um, I needed to take medication, which ultimately the medication ended up killing my stomach. Like, this is going to be some TMI right here, but we're moms and we all know I was
Yeah.
puking and pooping every single time I took it. It would make me so nauseous in the morning. Like, and before I even found out, I was going and working out at the gym with my friend for like 6 months before I found out. So even um, when we would go to the gym and I would take that medication, like I half the time couldn't even work out because it was killing me. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I ended up going back to the doctor, and they're like, I tell them, this medication sucks. And I said, but my stomach, like, I'm just having major issues. So they take some tests and come back and tell me, not only do I have diabetes, but I'm allergic to milk and egg whites, which milk is, oh man, I love milk.
Yeah.
That's been my thing my whole life. So that was
Yeah.
like killer. But it made sense because I've had all of these stomach issues in the past. Anyway, so what I started doing was I literally every time I go to the store, I look at the can or the box and I see how many carbs is in it. I see how many sugars is in it. If it's like over a certain, I don't know, like 10 carbs, like I won't even look at it because I can't have it unless I want to pump myself with insulin and I don't want to. So um, I even went to the point of being a vegetarian for 3 months, which I did that during the time of all of the great holidays, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And it was one of the hardest freaking things I've ever done because I didn't get that deep fried turkey I wanted at Thanksgiving. And I did this because I had done some research on other people who had diabetes that went vegetarian to see how it helped them. And they had success stories, which my A1C, oh, I should probably tell you this. So I went back, so I was diagnosed in June. I went back, I think September, told him I wanted to be a vegetarian. Between that time of those 3 months, I dropped my A1C from 11.7 to 7.4, which is huge. Like that's a huge change. So again, I know we can do this without medicine, like without having to have the shots.
Yeah.
And that's what I really want to like put out there to people is that like even though you have a disease, and this is not for everybody, right? Like this is not
Case by
not
case.
everybody can do this.
Yeah.
Because what I did for me works for me, but it's not necessarily going to work for you.
And this is your brother still takes the medicine, right? He's
You will always have to. Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Type 1, you always will have to.
Okay. And so you're type 2?
Yes.
Okay.
So it can go either way.
So sorry, continue.
No, you're fine. So then, the next 3 months I did the vegetarian thing. My A1C dropped 0.01. But I will tell you, like, in all seriousness, it was really hard to like stay away from all of the things that I was used to eating those holidays, So for me to not drop made sense in my mind because I'm still trying to go through this journey and figure it out. But fast forward, I think it was 2 or 3 months after I stopped being a vegetarian. I went back to the doctor and he checked my A1C again. And he was like, so how do you think you've done? Like, and I said, I'm really worried because I feel like I haven't done great, but I'm still trying every day, telling him my whole sob story. And he's like, well, your A1C is now down to a 6.4. And I was like, what? Like that, what a huge success in my mind, like to be, I mean, I was at almost a 12. And within 9 months, I dropped it down to a 6.4. And I had lost 45 pounds in that time too, because I was going to the gym 3 to 4 times a week for 2 hours a day. I was weightlifting. I don't do cardio. Running's for criminals. So, again, this is what worked for me. The weightlifting was the best part of getting diagnosed.
Yeah.
If you like, I love to weightlift. I love to work out. I think it helps with my diabetes incredibly.
It's also a form of meditation to get your body worked out. Swimming can be a form of meditation, art. But yeah, working out, a lot of people say that is the best me time that they give themselves.
Oh yeah, because I mean, you have to concentrate. Like, I mean, you have to make sure all of those muscles are working the same way and the right way, so you're not hurting yourself. And which is also another thing I loved about going to the gym because I would meet all of these people who would teach you the little tips and tricks to make your form better and to be able to sorry, my dad just is texting me so much right now.
You're okay. That's not a bad, I mean, at least your communication with your dad, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just totally lost my thought.
Weightlifting and the gym. In fact, I even thought about this too when you were saying it. The people there, those are some good friends to have. They actually care about being healthy. You have to have somewhat of a routine or be a little disciplined to go. So yeah, the friends you make at the gym those are some good people sometimes. So.
Oh yeah. Well, and I'm going to be completely honest with you right now too. Every time I would go to the gym, I would always have like little competitions with myself, with like other people in my brain, like they would be going weightlifting all this. And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And so it sounds cheesy, but like these little competitions in my head would push me to, go farther and to work out harder. And I mean, I've lost 100 pounds. So clearly, like, it worked, it helped.
Right. I mean, one lady came to my business group one time and she's like, did you know that the gym has TVs? Did you know that I ran for this long? Because I just watch TV. It's like, whatever works, dude. That's great.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you have to figure out what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess all in all, having the diabetes, like what I did worked for me. And I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you exactly scientifically everything to go do. But I 100% believe that it's your mindset too. I have this disease, but I don't let it control me. And I want to be healthy for me and my family. And I want to be able to inspire people to, make the change when they have things like this come up. Like, this isn't the end of the world to have a disease. Like, you just have to learn how to control it and keep going. But you cannot let your mind tell you that you can't do it. You have to every day. I'm going to be better than yesterday. You might have messed up a little bit yesterday, which is completely fine. You're going to have those days where you hit rock bottom, but you have to remember to be better than you were yesterday and to continue to keep going. It took me 3 years to lose 100 pounds. I hit plateaus so many times and I cried so many times. But look at where I am today. Like, I am in such better shape, and I hope to never go back to where I was, because when I look back at pictures, like, I don't remember myself like that. Mm-hmm. And I've always had like a good amount of confidence. I never felt like I looked like my pictures. And so it's mind blowing, but I like think back to how unhealthy I felt. I was like lazy, sitting on the couch all the time. I felt like complete dog crap. Mm-hmm. Come to find out, it's this diabetes that's kicking my ass, and I took control of it. I didn't want to deal with it anymore. So I want everybody to know and to remember that you can do anything that you put your mind to and conquer any obstacles you have.
That's so strong. Thank you for being here. I'm just so happy that you're here, and
I love you, friend.
I love you too. Oh my gosh. Reconnecting with you, for people who don't know, Lexi and I have only like reconnected like the last 3 months, and it's just been so fun. And, but yeah, I knew you back when you got pregnant. I've known you for a while. I've always been on your Facebook cheering you on and, happy for you. But yeah, I mean, to hear what was going on, because I didn't know. And until we had been friends just recently, I didn't know. And every time we go out, you're so on point with it, which I know isn't easy, especially, I was just watching Modern Family the other day, and they're talking about how somebody can't go on a diet because the husband's going to break the diet and all the things that we worry about. And you have so much self-control now that you're bringing your own sugar to coffee, and you're like, I'm
Yep, I do.
so that's some self-control right there. Well, and not even, I don't want to say, let me back up. It's a lot of self-control, but a lot of discipline in that you need to stay healthy. And I feel like that can be said about a lot of things with our brain, our routine, our work routine. Um, I I heard of the story. I wish I can remember her name. Oh my gosh, she was on Woman of Impact, and she was locked in her body. Like her body just she was a vegetable pretty much. She couldn't do anything for 2 years. For 2 years, but she could hear everything. She remembered everything. She could. Um, she was there, and she just said, I had to keep my mind in check, that I wasn't always going to be there, and she just told herself that this was going to be temporary, and that um, God's gonna give her another chance, and that she's gonna be okay. Um, and that mindset, like,
Yeah.
imagine being like, you can't even, you're on a feeding tube. Like there's nothing you could put in your body, but you only have your mind. And sure as shit, 2 years later, she comes out of the coma and she's like, hey bitches, I heard everything you said about me in there. Some nurses need to watch their mouths. She told all of the dirty laundry.
Oh my gosh, how insane is that?
Crazy. Well,
The
and
movie is incredible.
yeah. So your mind is, and of course, there's probably some other things that happened with her body to get her going. But I honestly believe that, we've seen animals just go and lay down and die because their cubs have died, and they're like, nope, and they just give
Yeah,
up. And that's your mind, it's your broken heart. That had nothing to do, I'm sure if, never mind, I'm just gonna stop there. It gets me all sad thinking about all the baby animals that get attacked and don't.
no, I get it. I'm so with you.
Well, and so my boyfriend and I were talking about this the other day. Like, how crazy would it be if animals could grieve the way humans do? That they probably would, because you can just see when a broken heart is a broken heart.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I wonder what it would be like.
Weird question. Well, I mean, think of it. Humans mummify people, and we have burials, and we have all these rituals, and we talk about them every year. We'll do a vigil or something. Animals don't get that, but you can literally hear their broken heart when something that they love died, or someone that they love died. So it's
Yeah,
God, I'm turning this conversation dark.
it's fine. We can talk about real feelings. It's fine.
These are all the real feelers, and I just mean the mind, the emotions, like everything it's a lot to be human. It's a lot to be um it's a lot to be an animal. This is why people say, really really think about it when you get your dog. And if you have to rehome, make sure they're going to a good loving home, because their hearts get broken too, you guys.
Right? They do. And I mean, even with our dog, he was rehomed like 4 times, and poor thing, like a year. And, when he's going and shitting on my floor and tearing up my shoes and ripping remotes apart, it's because he's stressed out. He misses his, you know,
Yeah.
like we have to be so aware of that.
Right.
It's sad.
I went on a vacation one time, and when I had one dog, I used to drop the dog off to my godmom's house, and she would watch her, and she'd be around people and other dogs and yada yada. But then when I had two dogs, that was harder. And I went out of town for a work trip, and my dog tore up the couch while I was gone. And I had my boyfriend came and stayed at the house as much as he could while he was there and everything. And I had, my neighbor came over twice a day to check on them and hang out with them, but it's not enough. And she had never done something like that before. So I just knew, I was like, you know what? If I was self-employed and just stayed home all the time with her, if I didn't have to, but even self-employment has its times you got to travel. But yeah, that was a situation for sure. But
See, I don't want any broken hearts. I just want everybody to feel loved.
yeah, right. Well, and let's talk about the kind of coming back to our subject. So when you find out that you have this, I'm sure like the shock and the unknown and everything is just like sinking. It's like everything, I was mad at that driver on the way to the hospital, and then you find out you have diabetes. Like that had no, like, I don't care about this anymore. Like you just kind of,
Yeah.
how it felt to you when you found out?
It completely like changed my world. Because I mean, really what came down to was my child. Like I was like, either I got to take care of myself or I'm going to die. And I cannot leave this little boy left, here without a mom. Like, of course, he's got a great dad, but what's the little boy without his mom? So he was 100% the reason why I was like, I have to take care of this. And I mean, of course, I wanted to do it for myself too. And I'm incredibly grateful and proud of myself for doing it, getting where I am today. But yeah, he was 100% the reason. And I think he appreciates it more too, because I'm able to go out and play with him and do the things, that he wants to do because I'm happy and healthy now.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and now that you know that this kind, that you're, how do I want to say this? That not that it runs in your family, because my understanding is, it's something that kind of happens, but that your body can be more prone to it happening.
yeah.
So with that said, this could possibly be, this could possibly be something that everybody faces. Let's just be honest. Just the way that food is, the way that we are with food. I did some research before the interview. The main thing is sugar. It's
Yeah.
it's a lot of sugar, and our sugar is everywhere, you guys. That's not me just being crazy.
See, okay, so we're going to get on this subject a little bit. It kind of kills me because, like, you hear some people say, oh, no, it's not our food and what we're eating. But I'm like, are you really sure? Because of all of the sugar, all of the extra carbs that are put into food, like, you're telling me that, don't get me wrong, there are people who are going to get it regardless. But you're telling me that if you go and eat this sugar, that it's not going to, make your body work harder. It's not going to eventually break it down to the point where, oh yeah, you have diabetes because you've nonstop eaten 6 cans of sugar every day for 12,000 years. Like, you're telling me that you can't prevent, like, be more preventative about it. Like, whole foods, eat stuff that's grown out of the ground instead of these processed cookies that are right in front of your face. Because I feel like you possibly could get diabetes. Keep eating that sugar if that's what you want. But if you want to be more aware of it, like, start eating healthier foods. Like, start preventing it now, because you do not want to be getting your leg cut off because you have diabetes and didn't take care of it. Do you know how many freaking stories I've heard of people losing toes, fingers, legs because they didn't take care of their diabetes?
How does that happen? Like, I've heard of that too, and I think it's so crazy because let's just kind of look at our school system. Like, we don't teach a lot of things in life that we should be preparing other people for, but I just the education on food itself is just is crazy. So anyway, how does that happen with do you know how the fingers and stuff get?
So you get like neuropathy, which I believe it like kills your nerve endings.
Okay.
And so like the circulation can't get to that limb anymore. And then it starts to basically like gangrene type deal.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's a lot to do with the circulation,
Yeah.
which
If I was a medical student, I'd know this.
And I'm not medical whatsoever. I didn't claim to be a doctor. I'm probably saying things a billion ways wrong, but this is just what I see from my perspective.
But we've heard about it. We've heard about it. And that's the other thing. We hear about diabetes and like how often it happens. And I guess let me ask you this. So your brother, your parents, they pay for his medicine? How, like, that's not free, correct?
No, it's not. It's so expensive. Like,
Has it ever been free for him? Has there ever been some sort of program to come in and help you guys, or
I think there was one program, and I can't even tell you the name of it because it was probably 3 or 4 years ago. But he did get on a program where they were sending him like the alcohol wipes, um, the needles, the like all of the tools you need for the diabetes. He might have gotten sent insulin. I don't remember, but there was one program that he had for like a couple of months that worked. And then I think because he hit a certain age, he wasn't eligible for it anymore, which I think is a bunch of bullshit. Like the fact that insulin is hundreds and hundreds of dollars is in effing sane to me.
I just want to Google this really fast. Like, how many? Let me just use our trusty friend. How many Americans get diabetes a year?
Interesting.
New cases, 1.5 million Americans are diagnosed with diabetes every year.
1.5 million?
1.5 million. This is what Google said. This is not what I said. I'm reading it from Google.
Wow.
About diabetes.
Wow.
There's another resource, a resource for diabetes.org, and the 88 American Diabetes Association. So I think it's they are reporting, not Google, but that's the first thing that comes up on Google. 1.5 million Americans are diagnosed with diabetes every year. Holy shit.
That's insanity.
That's crazy. I wonder if that, how many Americans, hang on, die in a car accident. I need a Jamie for my channel. That's what I need. Okay. More than 38,000 people die every year in car crashes on US roadways. The US traffic fatality rate is 12.4 deaths per 100,000. Okay. So, oh wait, an additional 4.4 million are injured seriously enough to require medical attention. Okay, so that's a lot. But I mean, let's look at that. We go to, like, there's like road situations all the time. Like you're driving and you get pulled over and you're like, hey, let's go to traffic school. Or hey, you have to get your license. Here's all they tell you how many people die. They tell you how people die. They show you all the scariness, and then you get your license and you go through the process. So why are we not talking about the one thing that is that we all do? We all consume food every day. And I don't care what my passions are in life. If I'm hungry, I have no passion in life. I don't care if I'm a good singer. I don't care if I'm in love with my boyfriend. I don't care. That sounds really bad. I love my children. But if I'm hungry, I don't care about anything until I've eaten.
Right. 100%.
So why are we not talking about the most important thing that we're all doing?
Right. And that's the thing too, is like I hear people go, have to take their family members to the hospital and they're telling me like the same kind of symptoms that diabetics can have, like peeing a lot, or like they're smelling, like their breath smells like sugar, or like they're constantly drinking water, and they go to the doctor and the doctor doesn't even like think to check for diabetes. Like they check for all of this other shit. But like, why? Because diabetes is so common, why is that not one of the first things that you are testing? Like I've heard so many people come to me and be like, oh, my little brother was diagnosed with diabetes. They had no idea. They took 12 tests, come to find out. Why? 1.5 million people a year are diagnosed with diabetes
in America, not in other countries. In America, just America.
And I just don't understand why it's not taken more seriously. I will say though, like the keto diet that's come out, which again, it might not work for you. It's not the greatest for health reasons, but I have diabetes, so this is what I have to do. They have come out with a lot of like keto foods now that I like didn't have to struggle to figure out how to make. 3 or 4 years ago. Like there's so much more coming out that is for diabetics, which I am internally grateful for.
Mm.
But at the same time, like they're processed and, like why can't I just learn to eat all of the good vegetables and fruits that grow up out of Mother Earth? Because we're in America.
I have to
I mean,
Google one more thing really
do it.
fast. Where's my Google? Okay. Can you recycle grocery bags? Plastic bags, wraps, and films can't be recycled in your curbside recycling bins, but you can take some of these items to your local retail stores where they collect plastic grocery bags for recycling. Any package that you see with how to recycle store drop-off label can be recycled this way. So again, this is just what I typed into Google. Can you recycle grocery bags? So this is a thing that, again, my conversations, my boyfriend must hate me. All the time, we have so many grocery bags, and I can't think of anybody who doesn't, unless they're like very conscious about like having their bags be the reusable kind, not the paper bags, but they're actually taking it. I feel like that is the only like actual eco-friendly way to go get your groceries, is to take and literally recycle your bags. But your grocery bags apparently, and according to Google, I just found this out, shrink wrap too. I didn't know that. It cannot be put, yeah, I didn't know that either. Cannot be put in your curbside can. So you have to physically take it to the grocery store, which y'all are crazy. You think that I get to work, first of all, you think that I can work 8 hours a day. And then you think that it's okay for us to stick a mandatory hour or half-hour lunch in there. So now I have to work for 8 hours and you're telling me that I got to go take a break. Whatever. Okay. I understand the mental. I probably needed it, but I didn't want it to be like one place had me there for a full hour and they said, no, I was like, well, can I take a half-hour break? Like, I want to be off 30 minutes earlier. And they said, no, it's a mandatory hour break. And then travel time, all for like 14 an hour. This is like what the low end, like successful big businesses think that the low end little guys can do, which takes the team to make the dream work. But where do you think that I have time to go back to the grocery store and drop off my bags, especially if we're encouraging me to socially distance and have you drop them off?
Right. It's so.
So if you had a piece of advice for yourself back then when you found out and you were going through it.
To never give up, to continue to keep going, because I know that I personally hit plateaus many times. Like I said, it took me 3 years to like lose the weight and be where I am today. And it was a real struggle. Like this does not happen overnight. I really want to accentuate that. Like this does not happen overnight, because I think a lot of us are in that culture of like, oh, I can just pull this and call this and my food's right here instantly. And, like losing weight or dealing with a disease or whatever it is, it takes time. And you have to remember that. And if you need some support and you need some encouragement, completely feel free to get a hold of me and I will like make you feel like the queen or king that you deserve to be, like just keep going. Never forget, like people are here rooting for you, whether you see it or not, and whether they tell you or not, like you are going to be an inspiration and be able to help somebody else through the same journey when you can, hit your goal. And that's all I want to be able to do, is inspire people to be healthy and to keep going, and no matter what situation you're in. So that's my thought.
I love your thought. Thank you. Well, and you've opened my eyes to seeing that I have no idea about diabetes. In fact, the only time that I've come close to even talking about it was when I was pregnant and I took my glucose.
Oh yeah, when you have to take it.
Yeah, that sugary drink. But sugar is all around us. In fact, super fun fact. You guys check your vitamins. I had a friend who is really into weightlifting, um, claims he is really nutritional and whatnot. And we were at the store, we were going shopping. And I don't know if it's a brand that he personally uses or if he just saw it and was like, oh, well, you need vitamins. And he grabbed these vitamins and said, take these. I looked at, I started taking them. And I have a really good kind that stays in the fridge. I'll actually link it in the description below because I don't feel myself like being, I don't crave it, which I can notice when something has too much sugar in it. I'm thinking about it. My coffee, I took sugar out of my coffee. Like I'm already caffeinated enough. We can drink my coffee black. I know, like it's okay. And and there's other things you can do to your coffee, but anyways, those vitamins had a lot of sugar in it. And I was taking the vitamins thinking that I'm so healthy. I'm taking vitamins. No, it all had sugar. I woke up in the morning and I was like, oh my gosh, yay, it's time to take my vitamins. Like I was so excited because it had sugar in it and my body was craving it.
Yeah. It's amazing what is in, like how much sugar is in things. I mean, even looking at a Gatorade, they're supposed to, hydrate you and do all this crap, and there's like 28 grams of sugar in it. What?
Gatorade
Why?
doesn't hydrate me. I mean, not really, but kind of. No, I love Gatorade. Oh, and that's the struggle. There's so many things that you love, and like again, I see you so well now that you bring your sugar to coffee and whatnot, and you stick to your routines. And then sometimes I'll be like, "Hey, Lexi, you want to order pizza?" And you're like, "If I want to die."
Well, that depends. Yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's like you really have to watch yourself. And I mean, like I said, you're gonna have those days where you're like, well, I ate 12 cookies. Okay, well, don't do that again tomorrow. And, just be aware of what you're doing.
Do you feel like for yourself that you can schedule out cheat days pretty well? Like if you're on schedule with things, or do you feel like the cheat days aren't worth it?
Being a diabetic, they're not worth it. Like, I mean, I say that when I say we're going to get stressed and we're going to, eat things that we definitely shouldn't. And I'm human. It happens, but like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. And it's a good reminder because the next day, usually, I feel like shit. So for me personally, it's not worth it, but I can't speak for everybody else.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, I definitely know people who, were alcoholics for years or drug addicts for years and they don't go back once. They don't, not even once. It's not worth it to them. So maybe treat your sugar addiction in the same manner if you're trying to be very disciplined about it and live a healthier lifestyle. So
yeah, and that's the thing, to be disciplined and to have that self-control. And that's in anything. That's in your relationships, your sex life, your food, your drinking habits, your, like
social media, video game addictions.
Yeah. Yeah. We need a healthy balance within our lives. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much, Lexi, for being here with me.
You're so welcome.
Public? I don't even know. Can I link it below? Your Instagram. Do you care if I add your information if people want to?
Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine.
I never know when it's my friends that I'm asking because I just love you guys so much. I'm like, I want to protect you, but sometimes I'm like, okay, we'll have my friend too. So
no, that's totally fine. We can do that.
Perfect. All right, you guys, I'll have all of our information linked below. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Des. Love you.
Love you. Bye, guys.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Yay. Thank you so much. It was so
You're welcome.
You're the best.